There we go. I was struggling. I'm trying to figure out how the hell no one can hear me. I can't hear myself. But I wasn't in the damn stream. I had forgot to add myself to the damn stream. Hey guys, what's going on, man? It feels good to be back. Listen, I've been sick the last couple of weeks, so I haven't been able to do any shows. I do appreciate everybody popping in and hanging out with me tonight. It's been crazy, man. It's been a hell of a, I guess you could say, couple of weeks. Um, we got the whole election thing going on. I don't really want to talk about that too much. But it's definitely tight. It's definitely close. Whoever you're voting for, um, hopefully whoever you're voting for pulls it out. Me personally, I don't want to say too much about that, but it's definitely tight, man. It's coming down to the wire. Anyway, moving on. Next gen is right around the corner, and I'm super hyped for it. Got a lot to talk about tonight, man. Xbox PS5 launch. You got the launch window coming up. Me and Phil had a small conversation, which was pretty cool, and we'll be talking about that as well. Oh, my man Post Up is in the building. What up, Post? Good to have you on. And me and Phil had a small conversation and everything like that. So I'm definitely going to discuss that. Hey, I appreciate it, Louie. Definitely feels good to be back, man. I had a cough. What's crazy is I had got sick, but I didn't have COVID. And I just had this cough, no fever. And I couldn't stop coughing, man. And to this day, I still have a small cough. I don't know if it's acid reflux, man. I'm just getting old. I'm starting to break down, man. It's getting crazy as you get older. All these little things start happening to you. You don't know why, but it's been real freaky. I got to get back in shape and take care of myself as I get older. But anyway, I'm excited, man. Listen, I see a lot of people hating on Xbox on Twitter and Facebook and in these groups. Excuse me. And I just don't see the appeal of hating on the platform, man. It's just crazy because I think Microsoft is doing everything right. Some people feel like they're doing things wrong because they don't have a first party launch lineup and all that stuff like that. But listen, man, if you've been following me and you've been listening to Tick Podcast for the longest time, we've been advocating for Microsoft to do so many things. And even though they didn't answer it, I guess you could say during the Xbox One generation, they've stepped their game up and they've, in my opinion, have done the best that they could have done. Better than any platform, honestly, going into the next generation. They set themselves up really to get a strike going into the next generation. Whether they become the popular platform or not, that's not for me to truly care about. I don't care if they become the popular platform. What I care about is that they deliver the games that I want to play. And so far, the way they have things set up, they look like they're on their way. So I'm definitely going to talk about, obviously, launch lineup, launch window. And again, the conversation I had with Phil was kind of small, nothing major, but I had a question for him because obviously I'm a Knights of the Old Republic fan. And with having Obsidian, who did Knights of the Old Republic 2, I kind of wondered, how come is it possible if he can get the license for 3? I thought that would be huge if he was able to get the license for 3. I'm looking at the Spider-Man deal with Sony, and why can't Microsoft do the same thing? So we're definitely going to hop into that. Let's get this party started, man. I'm excited to get back into podcasting, talking about everything. So here we go. All right, welcome to the Inner Circle Podcast, the premier podcast for Xbox and gaming. I'm your host, OX3 Kal-El. My man Post Up is in the building. He's kind of busy right now. He'll hop in. Karaba is in the middle of a damn raid on Ghost of Tsushima. So whenever he finished that, I guess he'll hop in. And shout out to Cam Hambone, who I believe is working, but may pop in middle of the show. So anyway, we got this Xbox and PS5 launch about to happen. And I had a PS5 pre-ordered, and I really wanted an Xbox Series S. First of all, the PS5 that I had pre-ordered was the disc version, and I didn't want the disc version. I wanted the digital version, and it's mainly because I don't know, man. As I've gotten older, I really don't care about physical items. Everything for me is digital. You know what I'm saying? Like digital games and digital movies. Like I'm an instant type person. So downloading games, downloading movies, instantly being able to watch, microwave type mentality right now. It's been key for me personally. And I wanted a digital PS4, and obviously it's hard to find right now, but I really wanted a Series X. That's the main thing I want, and I couldn't get it. Then I figured out I could get it, so I decided to go ahead and sell my PS5 pre-order. And I did it to a good friend. Some people know who he is. I'm not gonna say his name. But I'm happy that I was able to do that. His son's birthday is coming up. He'll be 11, so he'll have a PS5 for his birthday. I'm very excited about that, and I appreciate him reaching out to me and looking to pick that up. And I'm able to get my Xbox now, so I'm kind of hype about that as well. A lot of people have been getting down on the Xbox Series X because they don't have any first-party content. But my thing is, I don't understand why people put so much into launch titles for first party. Most of the time, launch titles aren't even that great, honestly, when they come out. I can't think of really any time where there's been a great sort of I guess you could say a great sort of launch lineup when you think about it. I think about the Xbox One, and you had Dead Rising 3, which was a good game, Killer Instinct. But remember, Killer Instinct, when it came out, it came out with like 5 characters and like 3 levels or something like that, and the characters were rotating every week if you didn't buy the game and you had it free, and they kind of gave you like this trickle down content, like every month they gave you a new character and a new menu, a map, a new board. And then what was crazy about that was that it wasn't even like a real story mode to it. There was just so much missing from the game that it took like 2 years for the game to really feel complete. And then also it took two studios for the game to feel complete as well. So it went through that. I think they had Loco Psycho, which was trash, Crimson Dragon, which didn't do well. Let me think what else. You had Rise Son of Rome, which was dope at the time, even though it was a bit repetitive and it had its shortcomings. I thought the story overall was good. It had a solid, cult following. People are talking about possibly seeing a new Rise hit, some rumor going around. It wouldn't be Rise Son of Rome 2, because obviously if you played Rise, you know what happened at the end of that. But they did talk about how they wanted to go into a different direction where possibly you could be playing as a different character. My thoughts on Rise was always that if Microsoft was ever to secure the IP, it would have been amazing to see them sort of take the concept of warriors throughout history and run with it like Final Fantasy. Like, you would never know who the next game will follow. Like, the first game follows, I forget the character's name, but the guy from Rome, obviously, you fight Nero at the end of Rome. Then what if the next character they gave you was somebody like Hannibal, who went and fought Rome, with I forget the people that he had basically basically was running at the time. But my man crossed over the mountains, the back way into Rome with elephants in the snow, lost thousands of soldiers, and still wrecked the Romans, which was incredible at the time. You know what I'm saying? Then what if you follow Alexander the Great? Like, each Rise, the son of some era. You know what I'm saying? I just think that would have been so dope if they did that. You could have went to the barbarians perspective where you fought against Rome. You could do Genghis Khan. You could have done just amazing warriors, amazing battles throughout history and follow the story. And it's all manipulated by the gods, man. If you've played Rise, you know that the gods are manipulating these things. I just thought it would have been dope. They, each god would have chose a champion, and then you would have followed that story of the champion and however that ends, whether he wins, loses, dies, succeeds, whatever it is. I think that would have been dope. But, there's a rumor that there's a new Rise. We'll see what happens with that. I don't know how true that is. Obviously, take that with a grain of salt. And then they have Forza Motorsport 5. And I'm trying to think what else. I mean, it has some little games, like some golf games and some stuff like that. But honestly, look at PlayStation's lineup. PlayStation had Resogun. They had like Killzone. I'm trying to think what they had. I think they had Drive Club at the time. I think Drive Club came out like in bits too. I think they had dropped the multiplayer or online or something like that a little bit later. Either way, the point is that launch lineups aren't always that great. And this launch lineup for both consoles really isn't that great either. I mean, PlayStation 5 has the remake for Demon Souls, which is dope. Graphically, that looks really impressive. And then you have Miles Morales and you have Spider-Man, but that's on PS4. Ratchet and Clank is not. I think Ratchet and Clank is a launch window, but it's not launching on the 12th. I'm not 100% sure about that. And then you got a couple of other games. Godfall, which I just found out is timed, obviously 6 months exclusive, which is cool. You know what I'm saying? That's cool. But listen, the reality of it is that PlayStation at this point, because they have some first party titles, do have a better launch lineup than the Xbox Series X. But for me, I'm more excited about what I get to play on Xbox Series X because there's games on there that I didn't expect to play. Dragon Age is on there. I'm going to wind up playing The Ascent. I heard that's a launch window title whenever that drops. Obviously, you're going to have Yakuza 7 is another game that I'm looking forward to playing. So there's a couple games on there. I know Medium is an exclusive title, but it's not something that I particularly would play. A lot of people like horror games. I'm not really into horror games like that. But it seems to be something that people are looking forward to. And it's supposed to be one of the few games that takes advantage of Microsoft's SSD technology. And speaking of SSD, man, have you seen the way the Xbox loads and how fast it loads and how fast it gets into games? Really impressive stuff, really impressive tech. I just can't get around how good they've built this console, man. It is really impressive, the size of it, and then also what they've added as far as the technology in the platform. And I just think about the games that's coming with Microsoft's launch window. It's going to be nuts. Like, I don't know what they're going to show. I think they're supposed to have some type of event on the 10th, I believe, like from like 4 to 5 or the 9th from 4 to 5 or something like that. Some type of event. I can't remember exactly. Look it up. But they're supposed to have some event and hopefully they show some content. I'm gonna tell you right now, man, once Hellblade comes out and Halo comes out, no one's gonna be thinking about no launch window. No one's thinking about a launch window. I remember when PlayStation had came out and you had you talk about how they, the games on PlayStation were scarce. They rely heavily on indie games. It's very similar to what Xbox is doing right now. They rely heavily on third party. They rely heavily on indie games, some second party support until they get their ducks in a row. But once those ducks start walking, I'm telling you right now, it's going to be a long ass line and you ain't going to be able to get past them ducks. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be crazy because the games are going to start rolling out, man. And I don't know when they're going to stop. I really feel like once Microsoft gets this train going, I don't know when that train is going to stop. You're going to be seeing a ton of games coming out of first party. Who knows what third party deals they have or second party deals they have to go along with that. It's going to be so crazy. And I'm kind of happy that Cyberpunk got pushed back. I know some people aren't, but it gives me an opportunity to play some of the games that I probably wouldn't have played if Cyberpunk had came out around the same time as the Series X, because that's what I would have been playing. That is the game that I would have been playing more than any other game. So, I'm really, really kind of glad that certain things fell the way they fell, and I'll be able to just play some of the games that they got, dropping the date of. Plus, I still have some of my older games. Like, I've been playing a lot of Destiny lately, and I haven't played Destiny in, I don't know, like at least a year. And it's so much content. I didn't realize how much content was in Destiny 2. It's insane. And every time I unlock something, I get a new piece of story, a new bit of story. And I just find it pretty cool, man. I find it cool that, Bungie has done such a great job with Destiny. I don't think people really appreciate what Bungie has done with this game. And I can understand if Microsoft wanted to try to follow suit with Halo in a way, the way they have it set up where Destiny has seasons and every season is kind of like a new story. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're getting a new taste of the world, of the universe. And the rumor is that Halo is trying to follow suit where over the next 10 years, it's just gonna be Halo Infinite, and they're just gonna update it with DLC story, DLC games. You know what I'm saying? So you might get a new story perspective for Master Chief. And I heard in one aspect, you might get a new story perspective from Team Osiris. You know what I'm saying? I found that really interesting. As long as the Halo world is big enough to maintain that type of change. You know what I'm saying? Because the thing about Destiny is they give you these different planets. So as you travel from planet to planet, each planet is large enough and big enough to feel different. And the things that you do in those worlds makes it feel different. So every time they add a new world, it actually feels like you're playing, I guess you could say, a new story or a new game. With Halo, you're just on that ring. Now, Halo does have different parts of the game where, because it's a ring and it's supposed to be like a world, different parts of the ring change. You know, like some aspects you may be in a snowy area, or forest area, a mountain range area, the plains, like an open plain area. That's cool, but the variety has to be big enough that when you start playing all these different stories, the game feels new. That's something that has to be consistent. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if they're able to pull that off. I know the original idea for them was to be able to basically explore the entire ring. That's how big it was, and that could have impacted the graphics and the direction that they wanted to go. I think it would if you wanted to explore the entire Halo ring, but I think they made some changes to that, so it might not do that anymore. I would prefer to actually be more like Destiny in a way where, like, maybe you want to hit a particular section of the Halo ring, and there's like an overmap, and you click it and you like teleport there, or you fly there like in the Destiny ship. You know what I'm saying? The load time is just quick or whatever. But the point is that you go to that area and it loads an entirely different area that looks different. You know what I'm saying? Maybe something looks a little bit more technology based because of the Halo ring, or something looks more forest based or snowy based or mountain based or whatever it is. But it gives you enough variety and environment that it makes it feel different and new. And I think that's really important if they're going to go in that direction. But we'll see, man. I don't know. Honestly, you got Hellblade 2. We haven't seen anything on that yet. I hope we do. I hope we see something actually coming up at this event, the celebration that they have coming up. That would be great to show off something like that. It'd be great to see what the initiative is working on as well. I don't know if they'll ever get around to doing that, but it would be really awesome if they were able to pull that off and show some content for the initiative. Now you got the launch window coming up. I think the launch window with Xbox, give me 1 second. Let me just sort of pull up the Xbox launch window. So, looking at some of these launch window games, we're talking about, let's see here. Woo! So you got Assassin's Creed Valhalla dropping, which is going to be obviously a solid third-person game. I don't know if that's my cup of tea. You got Yakuza Like a Dragon, which is something I'm interested in. Gear Tactics, which is coming over from PC. Tetris Effect, not my cup of tea. The Falconer. Now, I don't know nothing about the Falconer. I saw the price on it. It's not bad. But the Falconer obviously reminds me of oh my God, what's the name of it? Crimson Skies. And if it plays like Crimson Skies, that would be dope. I don't know much about the Falconer other than you're riding giant birds, and it looks interesting. I heard it has a really cool campaign. And right now, I think it's exclusively on the Xbox. So there's something to look into. And it's not that bad price-wise. I think it's like $30. It's not that bad price-wise. Dirt 5. You got Watch Dogs Legions, which I've heard really good things about. Some really good reviews coming out for that. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, 3 days after launch. I guess that's launching 3 days because of the PlayStation 5 and that marketing deal. You got Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition, Observer System Redux, NBA 2K21, Fortnite, Borderlands 3, Man Eater, Mortal Kombat 11, Enlisted, Evergate. I don't know what Evergate is. Dead by Daylight, Cuisine Royale, Bright Memory, Yes Your Grace, Warhammer, The Taurus, Manifold Garden, and King Oddball. I don't know what any of those games are. Honestly, most of them, other than Bright Memory, which is something that I'm looking forward to playing as well. That's not a great lineup at all. Be honest with you, it's not really impressive at all. But then you have the launch window, which is going from 2020 to 2021. Things get a little bit better. You got the Ascent. Now, that game I'm looking forward to. If you haven't seen the Ascent, please look up this game. Okay. It's not just some old rinky-dink indie title. Think of Diablo and Cyberpunk had a baby. That's basically what the Ascent is. It's like a one of those C RPGs, that quarter view, but it's an RPG, and you pick up different characters. You can build your character from scratch, and basically you play in a cyberpunkish world. Man, it looks dope. I just watched a whole bunch of gameplay on it. I'm so excited to play this game, man. I haven't been excited to play something like this in a minute, man. And I'm really hyped for the Ascent. That's one of my top games on my list, and you should definitely check it out. You got Scorn, which is the whole alien looking type game. It's just not my type of thing, not my cup of tea, but some people are excited about it. If you like horror, that's gonna be up your alley. You got Marvel's Avengers. I'm not really into Avengers like that. You got The Medium, which is a big title, I guess, for Microsoft. I think they put like $5 million or more behind this game, and it's a second party type deal. It's exclusive on the Xbox. That comes out December 10th. So if you're hype about that, that's gonna be dope. You got Destiny 2 Beyond Light. Looking forward to that. Madden NFL 21. You have Call of the Sea. It's all right. Second Extension. I saw some gameplay of Second Extension. Looks pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. It's a lot weird. A lot of dinosaurs coming out of the ground and the walls, but but it's pretty cool so far. It reminds me of Left 4 Dead with dinosaurs. So if you like Left 4 Dead, you'll probably love Second Extension. Then you got Outriders in February, which is basically the Destiny clone. You got FIFA 21. You got Dragon Quest 11, which I just downloaded the demo for that. I'm going to play that soon and try to get some gameplay of that up on the channel. 12 minutes. Listen, 12 minutes is a game. It's an indie game. I don't know if you guys remember this game, but 12 minutes was a game where there's a guy and a girl in their room, and this man walks in, and you got 12 minutes to figure out, I don't know if you got to stop him or what happened, but every time 12 minutes is up, I think the game resets, and you have to figure out how to stop this guy from murdering your girl or something like that. It's crazy. Look up the demo for 12 minutes. It's pretty crazy, man. You got Crossfire X, which is out now, the multiplayer, but the actual story mode, which is done by Remedy, is supposed to be coming out, I believe, in December, and it's exclusive to the Xbox platform. So that's something to look forward to too. That looked actually really good. You should definitely check that out. You got Hitman 3 in January, Little Nightmares 2, Far Cry 6, Immortals, Phoenix Rising, which is like Assassin's Creed meets Zelda, kind of interesting. Scarlet Nexus is another title that's on my list. Then you have Bright Infinite Memory, Exo Mecha, which is a very interesting title. I want to check that out. And obviously Resident Evil 8. And that's your launch window. That's what we know of. We don't know if we'll get Psychonauts 2. We don't know when we'll get Halo. We don't know when we'll get Hellblade. We don't know what Microsoft has up their sleeve. So that's something that we're basically going to have to ride out and wait until they have their next conference to show what they're going to be, giving us in the next couple of months or years. So definitely excited about that. So listen, man, that's pretty much what's happening for the Xbox launch window. The PS5 launch window, obviously we know they have some things, you got supposedly God of War Ragnarok. I don't think that's going to drop, honestly. I think that'll be delayed. I do believe that we will see Horizon Zero Dawn next year. And that's going to be a big title for them as well. I just don't know. We don't really know what PlayStation has up their sleeve at this point. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if they did have some really hot titles dropping, because look, man, they know how to get exclusives. I'm just going to keep it 100. They definitely know how to get exclusives. They definitely know how to appeal to their base. And everybody cries about Microsoft locking up studios, but you really just can't complain about it when Sony's locking up Final Fantasy 16 and getting exclusive deals and exclusive characters. Like, these guys just know how to play the game. And I think it's important that Microsoft also starts to play the game. So I really appreciate the things that Phil has been trying to do in that team. And I know he's been vague about, Bethesda games coming. That's another thing that I didn't even put into the equation. A lot of people haven't even thought about the Bethesda games. We're looking at these third parties, and everybody's crying about first party. But man, wait till these Bethesda games start to come out. You've been hearing a lot of talk about Starfield. Don't be surprised if Starfield gets a launch date next year with Halo Infinite, maybe Forza. It'll be crazy. It will be crazy next year, man. You just don't know. You have no idea what's in store coming up between now and next year. So I wouldn't even worry about launch games. You know what I'm saying? More than anything, I'd be more excited about 2021 and beyond more than anything this generation. To just rock out with what's coming out third party and second party. And once that ball start rolling again, ain't nobody going to be thinking about no launch window games. So let people cry all they want. And I would just focus on what's coming because it's going to be hot for Xbox, especially with that platform. You know what I'm saying? The Series X is going to be banging. Anyway, with that being said, I want to talk about this conversation I had with Phil, man. Me and Phil, we've talked for years. We've had a lot of conversations over the years. And I don't want to say that I influence anything. I'm not that important, nor am I that big of a podcaster. But I would like to think that my conversations with him and some of the guys at Xbox may have made them maybe think or made them have conversations about some of the moves that they've made and directions they've made. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I was a big RPG guy. So when I suggested to Phil they should focus on RPGs, I never expected him to buy Bethesda or get Obsidian or get In Exile. like literally everything that I want in a platform, this man has basically brought the studios for and brought to Xbox. So, it's like when I look at what PlayStation delivers, it's not to say that they don't have great games. I just feel like Xbox is catering to my interests more. And that's why I'm hyped for what they have coming up. But I was talking to my homeboy, and I was talking about Knights of the Old Republic 3. And we were having this conversation. We was like, man, Knights of the Old Republic would be so dope if Xbox was able to secure a Knights of the Old Republic 3. You know what I'm saying? We're like Disney does not consider Knights of the Old Republic canon. They basically consider it a part of their legend. So like when you think about characters from the Knights of the Old Republic series, they don't consider them canon anymore. They consider them legends. Now, what that means is they have characters in the Star Wars universe that they could pull into the Star Wars universe that's actually canon and basically give them stories a part of that universe. So basically, I'm sitting here saying to myself, if that's not a part of the canon universe, and EA basically has the deal for Star Wars games, why can't Microsoft make a deal for these legends? You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't need every Star Wars game. You just need the Knights of the Old Republic series. So I'm like, let me hit Phil up and see if it's possible if Microsoft could work out a deal with Disney, get Knights of the Old Republic 3 and have Obsidian remaster Knights of the Old Republic 2 or remake Knights of the Old Republic 2, because Knights of the Old Republic 2 was a game that they rushed. They rushed that game out the gate, and it didn't do as well as Knights of the Old Republic 1, but it was still a solid outing. But because they rushed it out the gate, it wasn't as good. So I'm saying let them remake the game so they can actually complete the game that they wanted to make, right? And then have them make Knights of the Republic 3 while they're also working on Avowed. The team is big enough where they can do, one part of the studio can work on something small while the big studio works on Avowed. And then once Avowed is done, they can start working on the next platform. So let me pull up the conversation I had real quick, if I can do that. Let's see here. Okay. Um, More than anything, I think I have this. Give me half a second, guys, because I don't want to show everything. I never want to show everything. You start showing everything, and people start really getting in your business. What? Where is it at? I don't know. All right, let me just screenshot it real quick, and then I'll edit it. Alrighty. Anyway, so we had this small conversation. It was, like I said, it was nothing major. It was a little small, tight convo. There we go. All right. Let's see here. Alrighty. So I had this conversation with Phil, and he basically hit me up and was like, which one is it? Is it this? No. Let's see. Let's try this one more time. Yeah, that. Sure. Okay. There we go. So I go, hey, Phil, is there no way you guys can get a deal for KOTOR as an exclusive like Sony and Spider-Man? Have Obsidian remake 2 like Final Fantasy 7 and then work on 3 alongside of out, or maybe get the publishing rights to Jade Empire and make a sequel for Series X as PC, or is it not worth it financially? So Phil says something like KOTOR would be 3 parties between Star Wars, which is Disney, EA, which is KOTOR rights, which I was surprised. I didn't know EA had KOTOR rights, and us. Those kinds of things are very hard to pull off. See GoldenEye and how difficult it's been to see anything come of that. That's why we are focusing on building our own our owned IP portfolio. In the long run, it's more valuable, and we show longer term commitment since we own the rights. Obviously I go, okay, that makes perfect sense. Glad you got it going the right way. Sucks being Xbox fans love Star Wars and KOTOR, but obviously building your own franchises is definitely the right way to go. I'm a huge supporter of that. Thanks for the response. So, it's I don't know what happened here, why I didn't show up. But it's kind of crazy because it's one of those things where you really want the nostalgia factor of what Microsoft could possibly do. Let me just pull this whole thing up because I don't know if you guys saw that or not. Yeah, let's just leave that there right there. Okay. So yeah. So, I tried my best to kind of get the thing out of Phil where it's one of those things where it's like, listen, you kind of want to be able to look at the nostalgia factor of something and see if they could remake it, remake things or do these things. And because it's third party, it's just really difficult. And Microsoft has relied on third party for so long that it's just one of those things that, I think that they're just tired of doing that. You know what I'm saying? Investing in IPs that they don't own, investing in games and building games that they don't own, or spending money on stuff that they don't own. And then in the end, they're stuck without the game, like Rise, Son of Rome. They tried to buy from Crytek. Crytek said no, they don't own the game. You know what I'm saying? But you invested all this money in it and help support, build it, and publish it. And then what? They take the game with themselves and go. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like Sunset Overdrive. I wouldn't be surprised if Sunset Overdrive's hit PlayStation. On top of hitting PlayStation, they come out with Sunset Overdrive too, because Microsoft don't own the IP. They may own maybe the rights to the publishing, but Phil's the type of guy to give that publishing up if it's requested, just like they gave up the publishing to Alan Wake for Remedy. So, it's just one of those things where it's like, I just don't know if, that's the direction they want to go. And Phil is like, listen, we want to build our own IPs. It's the smart thing to do. Building the things that we own ourselves is going to be the better direction. And so it sucks because now you see Sony like doing all of these sort of like little features where they're starting to people are asking for a remake of Legend of Dragoon. You know what I'm saying? And they did Medieval. You got Final Fantasy remake. They had Crash Bandicoot come back first exclusively. Now it's on every platform, but at first it was on PlayStation. They're Sony knows how to cater to their base. You know what I'm saying? They know how to cater to their base, and they really play great on the heartstrings and pulling the heartstrings with nostalgic games that we loved as a kid. You know what I'm saying? And it sucks because obviously there's a lot of fans who want to see Microsoft get back to pulling some of these great games that they had back in the day. But you got to remember that they, again, relied heavily on third party, so they don't own those games. You know what I'm saying? They don't really own those games, and because they don't own them, they would have to get licensing deals. Like people look at Crimson Skies and Mech Assault and stuff like that. And I remember having a conversation with Phil about that too. In one of the conversations we had, he talked about how there are licensing issues with those games. Even though I think they own them, there's still some sort of old school thing. I don't know if it's a music. I don't know exactly what it is, but it was like some licensing issue there as well. And because of that, it's a hard game. It's hard deal to go back and remake. A lot of those games he said was built by Jay Allard at the time, or published or produced by Jay Allard. So it was a lot of stuff that when you go back and you look at it, it's just hard for them to do. So I don't know, man. I just feel like it sucks that Xbox has put themselves in this position where all the great games that we love were third party, and all the great games that we love were built by other studios that weren't first party. Like it's one of the reasons why you didn't really see, you probably won't see Lost Odyssey 2, because that's designed by Walker. Microsoft owns the IP, but they don't own the studio. So when will we ever get one, or do they have to build a studio to make one? You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Blue Dragon. Microsoft owns the IP, but they don't own Walker. They don't own the studio that built the game. You got Quantum Break. Microsoft, you got a loyal fan base who loves Quantum Break and wants to see Quantum Break 2. But guess what? Microsoft don't own Remedy. Will we ever see a Quantum Break 2 unless you build a studio to make Quantum Break 2? It's like Gears of War. You have Gears of War, but Gears of War, even though it was made by Epic, they literally changed the studio and brought people in from Epic to run the studio and build Gears of War and make that studio the Gears of War studio. Same thing with 343. They literally built the studio to run Halo because Bungie was leaving. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if leadership played a role in that direction. And honestly, I don't think that was a great idea. But in the end, it took them all these years to get to a point to where now they have a plethora, 23, in fact, studios that can build.
Yo, you in here jamming by yourself, player?
Yeah, man. You know how it is, bro. It is what it is. I gotta do what I gotta do for the squad.
How you been, man?
I'm good, man. I'm hanging in there. How you feeling?
I'm good. You and the family okay?
Yeah, everything is going well. Everything is going well. How about you?
Same here, man. My children getting on my nerves. That just came through the door, so had to kind of calm them down.
Right. Gotcha.
I see that you sold your PS5 pre-order online.
Yeah, I was able to sell it. Now I have enough bread to get the Series X.
Yeah, because they're gonna have some available during launch.
Yeah, they're gonna have some allocation, so I'm definitely gonna pick one up.
Target, Walmart. At first I was kind of skeptical, but it is really going to be PlayStation and Microsoft is going to have some. I don't know how much, but right. Like they said in that Walmart commercial, or Walmart had a tweet out say, "Hey, F5 button ready for the refresh." But man, Joe, Hope that you get one, man. I'm sending good energy your way so you can get one.
I appreciate it. I hope so too. I was just in here talking about a conversation I had with Phil.
Okay.
About Knights of the Old Republic and why he couldn't do Knights of the Old Republic 3. And basically what he was saying was that the reason why it would be a deal that they wouldn't do is because it would be a difficult deal because it's 3 licenses you'd have to deal with. You first you have to deal with a license with Disney to get for Star Wars. Then you have to deal with a license with EA because EA is actually licensed to do the Star Wars games.
Yeah.
And then obviously you have Microsoft and you know, you have to work that out between the 3 of them. And
money.
Yeah, he's like, you know what? It's just better for us to work on our own IPs that we own ourselves and build from there. You know what I'm saying?
Which I agree. I mean, in that position when you dealing with 3 different licenses, you're splitting up a lot of money. And I don't know if it's worth for the back end if you're recoup what you need to do to invest in the title like that. But you never know with Game Pass and how fast and rapidly that's growing and where gamers out there that will welcome on either side that will welcome a Knights of the Old Republic, you probably could pull it off.
Right. I mean, it's definitely possible, but I don't know if I don't know. I think for them, relying so heavily on third party over the years has basically turned them off. And they just want to build a stronger portfolio. You know what I'm saying? So I just think they're just going to focus on first party a lot. And that's something I talked about also early on in the podcast. I was saying how a lot of people are getting on the launch window for Xbox, but really don't consider that launch window and beyond. You know, once you get past the first couple of months, you know, going into 2021, it's a wrap. Going downhill from there. It really is, because you start to see games like the Ascent and the Medium and all them stuff start to come out, and then God knows when we'll get the date for Halo. We don't know when Hellblade 2 will be announced. We don't know if they got some deal with Bethesda for a game that's going to be coming out, whether it's Wolfenstein or what. We just don't know. So we're kind of waiting for Microsoft to like do their next event so we can see the launch window for certain games. But I mean, you think about 2021 and beyond. I mean, they already talking about Starfield. You've seen a lot of talk about Starfield. Starfield come out next year and it's exclusive. Forget it.
They already confirmed that Starfield and the next Elder Scroll will be day and date.
Right.
Game Pass. I think the ball is on. I think right now Microsoft is really focusing, really being quiet, and they just waiting patiently for this Bethesda deal to go through.
And that's why they can't say nothing. Yeah.
And that's why they can't say that, because technically they don't own Bethesda yet. And at this point is that it's a partnership, and they can't say anything to influence the decisions that Bethesda makes right now, because it'll affect the purchase that hasn't went through yet. So right now they got to keep that cool. That's why when people ask them about, well, what about titles being exclusives and things like that, and they got to, you know, PR around that topic, because they can't give a definitive answer on it because they don't own the company. But I think once that purchase closes in February, I think that's when the ball gets rolling. But that's been quiet for years, and for a while now, we don't know what games that they have ready.
Right.
And people assuming that you're gonna have to, when they brought Bethesda, that changed the aspect of waiting 2 years for some games, because we don't have no information on how deep in development some of the games that Bethesda is. And I think after that purchase go through, we're going to see the ball rolling on a lot of titles, and a lot of titles getting announced. And I think some titles are going to be coming sooner than most people think.
I agree 100%. That's what I was saying before. Like, why are we so concerned about the launch window? You're buying a console for a long-term investment. You know what I'm saying? There's gonna be a plethora of games coming out going to next generation. This ain't your grandpa's Xbox. You know what I'm saying?
I still got games on the original Xbox I need to beat. Right. I still a heavily backlog of games that I put on hold. I even got to finish Gears 5, and I'm like, "Post up Gears 5." No, I stopped on the open world ice part. Uh, I stopped right there, honestly, because at that point I didn't feel motivated to finish. I'm like, what they doing with this Gears? And then and this open world part, it's kind of boring a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. Yeah, it's definitely different. It's not.
That on the ice thing, it was kind of boring. So I had to kind of, I guess, on the Series X, when with all the latency things that they fixed on it with the controller and what they did in the game itself and the graphical upgrades, I can push myself through it and get to the action part. I don't. It's like they put that open world in there just for the sake of saying this semi-open world. You know what I'm saying? You riding around on this ice thing and there's nothing out there.
Well, here's the thing. It's cool because there's little pockets of areas where you can go to and fight enemies, and when you fight them, if you beat them, you actually get special weapons. Like there's special weapons you could pick up and play with. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the things that they did, where it's like if you explore this broken train station, there may be an enemy in there. You beat that enemy, and there'll be a weapon in there that you can take. You can choose to take or leave.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It could be a futuristic weapon. It could be an older weapon or something like that. But that's one of the things that they put in there. So like you kind of explore. But the world itself, it's pretty barren.
But don't get me wrong, I am a Gears head. I'm gonna be on Gears 5 until probably the next one, especially when the 120 frames mode come out, and then with the latency and the controller got the deal, bro, I'm gonna go crazy. Gears multiplayer is some of the best and most fun multiplayer in the game that I've played, and it's very addictive. And once you start playing and you get accustomed to it and you get a hold of how it plays, it's hard to put down, man.
Well, it's definitely going to get better at 60 frames per second. I know that much.
Yeah.
It's going to be nuts. I know a lot of fans are going to be excited about that. People are not Xbox because they're saying they're making all your old games better. But I mean, it's just doing what PC does. That's what PC do. When you get a new graphics card, it just makes all your games better. And anything that's new that's going to come out is going to, get taken advantage of with the new hardware. So it's definitely something to look forward to.
Yeah, I don't want people, the ponies, man. I don't care about that, because the same people who clown Microsoft for that making their own games better are the same people who are going to be putting their PS4 Pro games, launching them on the PS5 just to see how they look.
His was cool. Have you heard about Star Wars Squadrons?
Yeah. I just read about the 1440p 120 frames per second on the S.
Yeah, 1440p 120 frames per second on the S. I think 4K 60 on the Series X. I think 4K
120 on the Series X.
I think it's 4K 60 on the Series X on graphics mode, and I think they have a different mode. I think it's 1440p 120 on there. But the ironic thing is they don't have that on the PlayStation 5.
Oh, so it's getting enhanced in the PlayStation.
Yeah. It's only on the Xbox. Let me pull this up real quick.
I think that stems from that deal. I think that deal with EA goes beyond just putting EA Play in Game Pass. And what if it entails that you see a lot of EA games come over, get enhanced on the Series X and not on the PlayStation 5?
Yeah, it's crazy. Where's it at? I'm trying to look at. Where is the... Oh, there we go. So, let's see here. Okay, so it says, let me go ahead and screen grab for that real quick. All right, so EA has confirmed its backwards compatible plans for a selection of titles on the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S today, including the new Star Wars Squadrons, which will run up to 120 frames per second on both systems. on both systems. You'll be able to choose from 2 different modes in the space combat title. Better visual quality and better performance, with the former running at 4K 60 on a Series X and 1440p 60 on a Series S, and the latter retaining those same resolutions up to 120 frames per second, but without a newly improved lighting mode. So actually, I think you're right. I think it is at 4K 120, but I think it removes they're saying it removes the lighting. Maybe it has what is it called? Ray tracing.
The artificial lighting or something.
Yeah, it might have something in there. They're saying, but it won't have it if you run it at 120.
I don't think that's the only game that's going to do that with EA.
It says there will also be a toggle for variable refresh rates if your display supports it. As for other games, most of EA's backwards compatible titles will simply benefit from improved load times and smoother frame rates on the new systems. Although Apex Legends is getting a performance boost, it will run at 1440p with more extensive enhancements set to arrive for the Battle Royale next year. So it's interesting, man. It's definitely interesting.
PlayStation 5 is getting none of that.
I don't think so. They didn't say.
It's crazy.
My understanding is that I think it's just regular 4K or 1440p or whatever it is.
Wow.
On the PlayStation.
So when Phil went to talk to EA, he talked, huh?
I don't know, man.
It sounded like he talked. He did more than bring EA Play to Game Pass, but it seems like, look, we're gonna get some enhancements that you're gonna leave off these other systems. I mean, this is one game that does it, but if we start seeing EA do it with another game, then you know what's up. We want to talk that talk.
Yeah, it's definitely something that is very interesting. If Microsoft start doing more games like this, it might bother a few people. I don't know, man. I think too much is put into resolution personally. I've had this conversation. I was on GRG podcast with Kate Mega and them, and had a whole conversation about why I feel like 4K is a bad narrative for Microsoft. And the reason why I was saying that was because it was like, you know, when you start making these games and you really want to push that GPU power, it's kind of better to put a lot of that into the graphics instead of trying to use that GPU for the resolution just to hit 4K to say we hit 4K. You know what I'm saying? Like PlayStation won't have that issue when it comes to their games. They can make a first party game. It'll be 1440p. No one will bat an eye because they're not trying to push this everything 4K narrative. You know, they don't mind having dynamic resolution or having reconstructive resolution and stuff like that at 1440p and up to 4K, especially if their games look absolutely stunning. You know what I'm saying? But Microsoft, on the other hand, because they push the most powerful console and 4K is basically a part of that, I feel like it hurts them when something doesn't hit 4K. You know what I'm saying? Like if it don't hit 4K, like people were crying about the dashboard. Oh, the dashboard is a 4K. What happened to it being the most powerful console? Like, come on, bro. It's not that serious, but it's something that Microsoft put themselves in, a position they put themselves in because they have the most powerful console name. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where I'm like, I don't know.
Man, that dashboard shenanigans was crazy. Look, the One X dashboard was 4K. They dropped it down to 1080p to give more memory to developers for games.
Right.
And that's what matters. You can't go this whole generation or the back half of this generation leading up to these console launches and say power don't matter, nothing else matters but the games. And then when Sony announces a 4K HDR dashboard, you guys say, man, look what we got. Y'all ain't get. I don't care about a dashboard. It don't need
right.
The dashboard is there for me to access my game. I don't sit and stare at the dashboard and say, man, look how this dashboard looking 4K HDR. No, dashboard is used for what it is, to get to other things and get to my content. And so if it's going to be 1080p, I don't care. That's more memory available for developers to do what they want to do with these games. And the thing you were saying about 4K, I don't think people realize how intensive 4K is, how
right.
it is.
Right.
it is very, very, very demanding, and you still have these high PC cards that still struggle with it. It took look at the power of 2080 Ti and
Hmm.
PC cards are still having issues with that card was still having issues with running certain games at 4K and over 60 frames or over.
Hmm.
It took them to come out with the 3090 or in the 3080 for them to really run games at 4K or above without, you know what I'm saying, without the struggle or having to turn things off, you know. So yeah, I don't care about that. That's crazy.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just want Microsoft to make sure that whenever they develop games,
Hmm.
that they don't make 4K a priority. If you
Yeah,
can hit it, that's great. You know what I'm saying? But if you feel like in order to get this graphic fidelity, we need to lower it to 1800p, please do. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like, I don't care what other people say. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want Gears to look like the most realistic game of all time, but in order to get there, it's got to be 1440p, do it. You know what I'm saying?
you know what I've
That's all
learned.
I'm saying.
You know what I've learned. 4K it just gives you a clearer image. It's no longer a selling point.
Right.
You know, I feel what sells, and this what Sony gets. Sony knows that how a game looks sells.
Right.
Whether a person play it or not, they know it sells, and so they try to make their games as most graphically as impressive as they can. And I wish if Microsoft is listening, if any of their developers listen, um, start focusing on the eye candy. Don't not to take away from making great gameplay, but we're men and we're gamers. Gamers are often like men. When they see a beautiful chick, they don't know her character, they don't know her spirit, they don't know her energy or what type of person she is. All they know is that she looked good in the mud.
Right. Right. Right.
And for and at that moment, that's good enough for them.
Right. Right.
Look, I
Exactly.
will figure out the other stuff. I will figure out the other stuff later. But right now, chick
That's
pass.
how it is. You're right though. You're right though. Visual first impressions are
Yeah.
always important, man. That's what captures you. That's what captures your attention. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? And if it looks great, you're gonna be interested in it.
Yep.
You'll find out how it plays later. Like a lot of people love what's that game? 1886, the werewolf
Yeah.
game on PlayStation. The game
Didn't play it
graphically
enough
was
when they first
beautiful.
showed it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then you play it, it's a walking sim. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? So it's
Exactly.
like, it is what it is. But you got to capture people first. You know what I'm saying? And if you can do that graphically, then you playing the game right. And that's what makes Sony good at what they do. And I think Microsoft is going to try to follow suit with some of their third parties like Hellblade and whatever the initiative is working on.
Yeah,
So
I think you have a tendency to look that game raw. They just looking at it's raw. You see how it look? They don't
I'm
say
hyped.
nothing. You see how it looks smooth. It look like that. It
Yeah,
look like that. You know what I'm saying? Until you get your hands on it. Yeah.
definitely gonna be crazy. But anyway, let's get to the final topic, man. I want to thank everybody for coming through. I truly appreciate you guys hanging out with me tonight. And yeah, man, thank you for the welcome back. Like I said, I was sick over the last couple of weeks. If you didn't hear my earlier conversation, man, I had a crazy cough, and I didn't have COVID or anything like that, but I just was sick, man. I couldn't stop coughing. I don't know if it was an acid reflux situation, but it's been tough over the last couple of weeks. So it was to the point where I couldn't even talk on the microphone without coughing. Um, but I'm getting better now and I'm feeling much better, which is great. But listen, man, I think this generation is going to be a better generation than this one, the next
Mm.
generation. I think for both platforms. I think, and I'll give my opinions. I think Sony started out very slow. And they trickled out some hits, early. I won't say too early, but like about 2 or 3 years in.
Mhm.
And then like 2017, they just dropped all these great games back to back to back to back. A lot of
Mhm.
second party sort of third party games, Persona, stuff like that. That they had some first party games here and there. But either way, those games were exclusive to the platform and it sort of bolstered their lineup over the course of about 2 years. And they just kind of had hit after hit after hit, and then it slowed down at the end of the generation. Microsoft came out strong in the beginning of the generation. A lot of people, I think, don't appreciate the effort that Xbox put in the beginning of the generation because it's a "what have you done for me lately" type industry.
Yep, exactly.
So people forget about the Killer Instincts and the Forzas and the what is it called? Quantum Break and Sunset Overdrive, and a lot of really cool indie games that had came out at that time that was exclusive to the platform. Obviously, you had Ori and the Blind Forest, you got the Cupheads and stuff like that, the Gears, the Halos and stuff. And I think people don't recognize those games. Like, those are really good games. They were all highly rated, 80 and above, 85 and above. And it's just, again, people want to knock the game because they didn't live up to the legacy. I think that's the problem. It didn't live up to the legacy, but it's not, those aren't bad games. But then obviously you had a change in the direction that Microsoft wanted to go. Phil had to, don't forget Titanfall. Shout out to Baez for for that as well. Titanfall was another big title, Titanfall 1. But as you go into this generation, Microsoft is starting out a bit slow, and it's kind of reverse. It's like Sony is getting the head start where they have, solid launch lineup. Microsoft is relying heavily on third party and indie, but they're going to start rolling out these games from 2021 on, and it's just going to be crazy because it's going to be like every other month or like every 3 months, you're going to be getting some type of crazy game from Microsoft. And it's really exciting to see and hear that they're going to be going this direction. This is the first time I could truly say Microsoft is probably going to be pumping out a plethora of games, and it's not going to stop for an entire generation. You know
I think right now Sony has the window. I'm hearing a lot of great things for Sony. They got the Spider-Man, they got the Ratchet and Clank. They doing Gran Turismo early next year. God of War 2 dropping, supposed to be dropping in 2021. Then you got Horizon Zero Dawn in 2021. I don't know if them two games gonna drop in the same year. The rumors about Silent Hill I heard was true. I'm also hearing a Metal Gear Solid remake.
Yeah, I heard about that. That comes out, I might get a PS5. I'll get a PS5 for that.
When Sony, when Jim Ryan was saying one of the greatest launch lineups, if all of that holds true, that will be, in terms of launch lineup and launch window, Spider-Man, Ratchet and Clank, God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, Gran Turismo, Silent Hill, Metal Gear. That's freaking incredible, bro.
That is incredible. That's incredible.
Within a year or two of your system launching, that's freaking incredible. I can't even, Kyle, as much as I joke and trash ponies and PlayStation, which I do in the court because I gotta maintain it. I gotta hold it down. They be out there, but that would be freaking incredible. But they know they woke up a sleeping giant, though.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They know they woke. What Microsoft is on the precipice of doing is going to be probably unheard of in the game industry in terms of how they're going to be able to output content. And I ain't talking about all these people for years talking about double. No, we're talking about AAA bangers.
Right.
Bro, it's just think. You have Bethesda and what's the other one? Obsidian.
Yeah.
Under the same roof.
Yeah.
Who's to say they won't get together and say let's
I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised if they did that.
It's going to happen at some point.
I think so too.
I think it's going to happen at some. Man, it's some incredible. Look, and I ain't even mad, even though if that stuff comes to fruition for Sony, I'll be happy for it because I'm gonna have a PS5. You know what I'm saying? Stuff, but I am really excited for what the future of Xbox. Like I said before on another podcast, I don't invest in a launch day or a launch month. I
Right.
invest in a generation.
Right.
I invest in a generation, and I know at some point this generation, when Microsoft kick in gear, especially after this Bethesda purchase go through, and then they talk about making other purchases, and all this is day and date and Game Pass. I just have to wait. I ain't gotta spend $70. I ain't gotta spend $70. You know what $15 can do for a meal?
It's crazy.
You feel me?
I think that's another thing that goes unappreciated is the Game Pass. People crap on Game Pass, but then what's that Star Wars game? The new one that just came out. That's about to hit because of EA Play, which is now a part of Game Pass. That's about to hit the Series X, man.
But you know what? I keep forgetting about EA Play launching on the 10th.
Yeah,
bro. I keep forgetting about
that's crazy, right?
Who would have thought, bro? Who would have thought in a million years? Matter of fact, when Game Pass launched, people said, "Well, no third party gonna get down with that. People ain't gonna put their games in game. They gonna lose money. EA would never."
Right.
And
Here's what's crazy. Shout out to Louis Shark in the chat. Louis says he think they got Sega. Now, think about this. Sega just sold their arcade business. Right? So that's something that Microsoft don't have to deal with. Is it possible that Microsoft did in fact buy Sega and is waiting for them to like get rid of the unnecessary wait? And then boom, guess who's got Sonic?
I don't know. If they did, like I said, everything is Microsoft ain't for to announce no acquisition. They ain't for to announce none of that. They got something going on the 9th.
They got something going on tonight, right? Yeah.
I was at the Xbox Fan Fest. We didn't get a chance to do the trivia, but they did send me some Microsoft points. They just sent me another email about something. I forgot. I gotta read my email.
Yeah, I got the email too. I was in that Fan Fest joint.
The 9th or the 10th or something. But other than that, you're really gonna start. I think, like I said, when that shit closed in February, when it closed, even though and even though the CEO been said and Phil been like, we're not done, we know that if they got anything going on with Sega, which they do, because them signs is
it's pointing towards it, right? Yeah, like there's something. That's what I'm saying. There's something going on between Microsoft and Sega. I don't know what it is. But if Microsoft says we purchase Sega, the industry is going to go bonkers,
bro. It's going to be. And then you know what you get with that? People like Sega.
Bro, I didn't want to talk about it, bro.
You're cool. What's the other joint that Persona game? I think is that Persona game is under Sega. I think
Persona is under. I think it's Atlas, but I think Atlas is like a second party under. I think they owned by Sega.
But where they get that too, they get a lot of.
I don't know. I think there's certain games that they'll leave third party, kind of like what's the name, like Minecraft. Like I think Sonic. I don't think you can make Sonic like exclusive.
No, look,
you can't do that.
Look, yes, you can. Look, Phil, if you listen, I mean no disrespect, player. If you listen. I know we supposed to play along and sing along. That's your motto that you preach, okay? But your competition don't think like that. Your competition took Street Fighter away from us. Your competition took Spider-Man away from us. And your competition gonna take Silent Hill and any other game that they get under their umbrella away from us. They don't care. And I'm not saying you got to sling mud to be competitive. I'm not asking you to sling mud. I'm asking you to return a favor to your fans. I will make Sonic exclusive. I will make all them Bethesda games exclusive. I will force people into my ecosystem, into my Game Pass service. Because that's what Sony gonna do. They're gonna force you to buy a PlayStation 5. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yo,
That's
could you imagine if they did that and added the Dreamcast library to Game Pass?
yeah.
Oh my God. Power Stone?
Get a
Oh my
460 Crazy Taxi.
what? Crazy Taxi? Jet Set
Crazy Taxi.
Radio?
Back in the day, yeah, man. People been
Yo,
asking
that
for
would be
Jet Set
crazy.
Radio for years, man.
You have Xbox games, you see Dreamcast games in that, bruh. Wow, that would be insane if they were able to pull that off.
Louis, they
That
got
would be
some acquisition. That Bungie info that was real. I don't care what the Bungie CEO said. Insomniac said the same thing. When they was being questioned about Sony acquired them, they said the same thing, and then they turned around and got acquired. That's real. And a couple more. So I think Asobo. I think they're gonna get brought. They're gonna be working on Flight Simulator for the next 10 years. Yeah,
I believe you.
For the next, it's no, you gotta snatch them. They very talented.
Yeah, they are talented.
Forza Motorsport engine and modified it. They work. Matter of fact, I didn't even know that Turn 10 helped them with the Flight Simulator. But that just shows you how amazing that Forza engine is. Microsoft, y'all need to go grab that Forza engine and do that engine is freaking amazing, bro. Incredible. And they used the modified Forza engine to create the Flight Simulator. Then looking at what they did with the other game they released too,
Plague's Tale. Yeah,
bro, they are super talented, a small, super talented studio that do amazing work graphically.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about. That studio is going to make sure that his games look graphically impressive.
Plague's Tale was great too. I like that game. That was a really good game.
See, I gotta finish that. That's not I ain't finished that. You know?
Yeah, that was a good game.
Yeah, don't get them. Yeah. Let me see. Rather Xbox pick up Blooper Team, the Ascent Dev. Asobo. Well, the Blooper Team is a hit and miss at times, but I think they just need resources and a bigger team. I do think if they do get under Microsoft, their ideas and stuff and what they be trying to do versus the type of budget they have to try to fulfill what they're trying to do, you can see that they are playing by budget restraints. Right. You know what I'm saying? You can tell they want to do a lot, but because I know the medium is like $7 million.
Yeah, like 7 or 5. Yeah.
Just think if they have a $50 million budget from Microsoft and to be able to hire more people, and I think that'll be a good fit.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with the Bloober Team once the medium comes out. We'll see how talented they are with what they pull off. I love the Ascent. I don't know. I got to play that game first before I make a decision on the dev. Obviously, Moon Studios, I would love to have. But their next game is going to be multi-plat. They're going to stretch their legs a little bit. We'll see how that works out. But yeah, man, I'm excited. I hope Microsoft, if they do get a Japanese studio and it is Sega, that would be a megaton. I mean, you just pulled off the biggest coup of all time, but that's the end Sega. Forget it.
I know you're a huge Grounded fan.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they put out a lot of updates. What's the update on Grounded? And have you still been playing it? And
I took some time off from Grounded because the updates were trickling too small. So I'm waiting for the big update to hit. And yeah, like they have plans to like have because right now you have your own save. So like if you wanted to play with someone, they would have to wait for you to log in to play. So that's kind of hinders playing because like if you played on a team, then anybody can log into that save and then you just log in and everybody plays the same save.
It's not drop in.
Right, it's not drop in. Right, I have to invite you to my world and then you play in my world and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And I will have to be logged in for you to play. Wow. So I'm waiting for them to fix that. There's supposed to be a fix where the saves work for everyone. So we play as a team. Even if I'm not online, you can log into that save and continue to play and build. You know what I'm saying? But they do have a major update coming out where they're gonna give you access to the pond area, which is basically an entire underwater world and
What?
stuff like that. Yeah, and you'll be able to like you can kill fish in there, and they give you like fins and scuba gear, and you could dive underwater. You can explore underwater. There's like underwater enemies like spiders, there's tadpoles. It's
What?
like crazy. And then there's like an underwater base that you have to go to as well. And it's like bases all over the map that you have to discover in hidden places. And they're making changes to certain bosses because there's bosses that you can go and fight in certain areas. Like it's crazy, man. Like the game is getting crazy.
That sound fire.
And it's crazy. They're supposed to be adding fireflies. You're supposed to get mounts soon. Oh, I heard that they're working on a thing where you might be able to control ants. Like you might be able to control like 4 or 5 ants to help you carry stuff. Like it's yeah, like it's cool, man. Like one of the things is
They did do that in the movies.
one of the cool things I like about it was like if you put the ant armor on, you can actually explore an entire ant den without being killed. Because they think you an ant. So you go down there and you just see nothing. Like it's dark as hell too. So you got to have like a torch, and it's nothing but ants, bro. It's like millions of ants. And like if you're supposed to grab their larva, and when you grab their larva, you can make bombs with it. But what's crazy is if you keep the larva on you too long, or you put it in a chest, that joint will hatch into an ant.
What?
Yeah, like if you keep it too long and you don't make it into a bomb, and you just keep the larva on you, it'll hatch into an ant. And then the little ants are more aggressive than the big ants. And they'll try to kill you, and it'll grow into a full ant. Yo, it's crazy, son. That game is nuts, bro. Yeah, but the problem with the game is that they don't have drop in co-op, and that's the biggest issue with the game right now.
Wow. See, when you explain it like that, it sounds more exciting.
Yo, the game is super fun, man. It really is, especially when you start building. But again, it's early on, so it's like a lot of content that's missing. And then the world is dope because it's like different worlds. Like you got the forest area, which is like pretty cool. Then you have like this tree area where you can actually climb the tree and walk on the branches in the tree. You know what I'm saying? And there's spiders up there or whatever. And you can get blueberries out of there. Then you got the lake area. There's like 2 lakes. Then they have like a poisonous gas area where you got to wear a gas mask. And the insects in that area are mutated. You know what I'm saying? So like they blow up if you get too close to them. Like it's crazy. And then there's like just other parts of the world that they haven't even opened up yet. Like there's a picnic table they haven't opened up. They got the house area itself where you can walk up the steps. Like, bro, it's a lot. Like the game is huge, but they just haven't opened it all up yet.
Yeah, that sounds.
I heard they may even let you go in the house.
I think they're gonna have to at some point.
Yeah, at some point, right? So pretty dope.
I hope you get to the house, you get up in the attic and all that shit. And
Yeah.
once you get to the house, it's so many places you can take it to in terms of what you can do in the house. That'll be crazy.
Yeah.
Think about getting in the sink, falling in the sink, going down the drain, and figure out that. Oh man, just
it would be crazy. It definitely is crazy. They got a plethora of stuff they're gonna add. I know they're adding bees. I heard they're adding mosquitoes, which is a threat. Obviously fireflies. They're gonna have mounts at some point, flying mounts, crawling mounts. It's gonna be crazy, man. And I heard they're adding like more bugs, more spiders, all different types of insects. It's gonna be nuts. But yeah, I've been playing Destiny 2 lately a lot, just grinding that out, trying to catch up before Beyond Light, because I'm kind of hyped for Beyond Light. So I'm looking forward to that. And like I said, I just downloaded the demos for what I downloaded. I downloaded the demo for Dragon Quest 11. And I downloaded what's the name? Because it's in Game Pass. Tales of Vesperia.
What?
Yeah, Tales of Vesperia is in Game Pass, which is dope because I never beat the game. I had it on the Dreamcast. I got all the way to the end, and I had one. What was it? I had one ultimate weapon, which was the main character's ultimate weapon. But I guess you could say I I under leveled, and when I got to the end, the character does this move where he like the whole screen goes black, and you basically get killed. It's like a one-shot move, and for some apparent reason, no matter what I did, I couldn't beat him. And where I had saved it, I saved it wrong. Like I was so far ahead that I can't go back to like train and grind and level up. I was basically at the end. So I'm going to try to play it again. I'm going to over level and hopefully get to the end and beat the game. Okay. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I think I'm gonna put some videos of that up on the channel too. I love to play RPGs, and I'm gonna show some character builds. I'm gonna try to show character builds for people who are in RPGs as well. And see how that all works out. But anyway,
okay.
That's gonna be it, man, for this week's show, man. I'm glad to be back. I appreciate Post coming through. I know the team will definitely make their comeback next week. Obviously, it's been a hectic week. You got new consoles launching, and guys are playing new content and stuff like that. And we haven't been together for a minute because I've been out of it, but I'm back. So I do appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. You can catch us every Thursday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. And we'll be here talking about Xbox and any news that I get on, the industry. And if I have any behind the scenes stuff with the Xbox team, I'll definitely talk about it if I can. Can't always talk about everything, but if I can talk about it, I'll definitely discuss it and give my thoughts on some of the conversations I have with some of the Xbox execs. So I definitely appreciate everybody hanging out with us tonight. Post, when's your next show?
It's gonna be Saturday. It's gonna be Saturday. I'm gonna give Saturdays is when I do my shows, and then I got the Best Damn Podcast, which usually on Sunday, and then we do multiplayer and stuff throughout the week. But Saturday, I haven't did a show in a while because I just got back to work and I'm getting acclimated with work. It's a launch week with all these new products and stuff like that. So bear with me. Hey Kyle, I still gotta ask Phil a question, man, about this this PlayStation title, man, that's dormant over there that they ain't using. And that Ninja Theory created.
Oh, Hellblade? Not Hellblade. What's that game called?
Heavenly Sword.
Right. I think
Heavenly
Sony
Sword
owns that IP though.
Yeah, hey Phil, go talk to Sony about that IP. And the reason why I say that because I read Ninja Theory had a website that kind of timeline from how they started all the way to where they are now, and they talked about Heavenly Sword as something that a game that they enjoyed created that they always wanted to go back to. If Sony ain't using it, man, go back to the IP from them and they tech that created, man, and get that female God of War going on, man.
That is interesting. Maybe I'll hit Phil up and ask him and see if he responds.
Yeah, I need that.
I'll definitely.
They ain't doing nothing with it. I don't think they ever gonna do nothing with it though.
You're right. It's just sitting there. You never know. I'll definitely I'll hit him up and ask when I get a chance for sure.
Put that little bug in his ear.
No doubt. So listen, man, I want to thank everybody for coming through once again. Truly appreciate you guys. I am working on rebuilding the podcast on iTunes and Google and all that stuff like that. So keep an eye out for that as well. And we'll see you guys next week, man. Truly appreciate the support. Hit that subscribe button. And we are off this planet. See you guys next week. Peace.